We're talking about how capitalism sucks again. Alright, so today we're talking about many people's beloved hobby, a part of the good old satanic panic, and something that most people now know due to a bunch of nerdy ass voice actors. Yes, we are speaking about Dungeons and Dragons, specifically the OGL or Open Game License. Now, for those who don't know, D&D has a huge wealth of creators making third-party content for the game that they can sell, and they are allowed to do this due to the current OGL. Now, the OGL, specifically version 1.0a, is a public copyright license made by Wizards of the Coast, D&D's owner, that allows creators permission to modify, copy, and redistribute parts of the D&D game for third-party sales. There are some conditions that this requires, but at this point it's all pretty fair stuff, like making sure the license is included within the product and credits given properly. The original version came out in the year 2000 for D&D's 3rd edition and went for a few revisions and updates, but kept things fair and usable. Third-party content isn't all that's included within the OGL. There's also the SRD, or System Reference Document, which, to give a brief description, is a series of stuff from D&D that is freely available for players and content creators alike to use. Includes stuff like races, classes, spells, and so on. And what's also great is how entirely new games are able to be made with the use of the OGL. Games like Pathfinder, Fate, Mutants and Masterminds, RuneQuest, and many more. To summarise what we covered so far, Wizards of the Coast made a pretty useful license agreement, which let TTRPGs flourish more and gave a new marketplace for creators of all sizes. So naturally, they went and fucked it up. Okay, so it's a bit more complex than that. Well, not really. In recent years, D&D's popularity has exploded to all new heights of popularity, with shows like Critical Role and High Rollers thrusting it into the spotlight and making it somewhat mainstream. There are more players than ever before, and it became cool to play D&D, and that's absolutely rad. This supercharged the space of third-party creators, and it became a new age for them. Marketplaces like DM's Guild and DriveThruRPG became hotspots for new content, and whole companies were made off the newfound popularity. And as we know, corporations can't ever just have enough money or control, and Hasbro and Wizards very much took notice of the product's newfound success. This brings us to November 2022, where people were speculating about how the current OGL would be discontinued with the release of 1D&D, the latest edition due to release in 2024. Later that month, after much worry in the community, Wizards of the Coast stated, "We will continue to support the thousands of creators making third-party D&D content with the releases of 1D&D in 2024, which didn't do much to ease the worries of said creator. A month later, they released additional details on 1.1 that is stated to go into effect in 2023. These details included more stipulations on use of the license. The new license will only cover printed media or static electronic files, so like PDFs and ebooks. It will only cover materials created for use in or as TTRPGs. It will not cover other content such as video games or virtual tabletops. Products will be required to have an official OGL badge. Revenue related to the OGL must be reported to Wizards of the Coast if said revenue exceeds $50,000 annually." Now, as you can imagine, these sound pretty vague. It only covers printed and PDFs. What does that mean for those making other content? Does this affect stream content, videos making use of that content? Since then, as of the time of writing, there have been piling worries and anxieties from creators across the board, with silence on Wizards' part. That is, of course, until someone leaked the new OGL to reporters at Gizmodo. And this thing was way chunkier than the previous license ever came close to being. Like, 1.0a was roughly 900 words long, whilst 1.1 is quite literally
over 9,000!
Now, this article is a long read, but I'll leave the link in the description if you want to read the full thing. Now, some of the new features of it are actually good. 1.1 has a statement saying it can terminate the agreement with creators that publish material that is blatantly bigoted in any way. But on the not so good side, the document updates a previous OGL as a no longer authorised license agreement, so that previous statement from Wizards may have been a little bit of a lie. Ending that license agreement will mean all the creators will have to speedily update all their products, and with larger companies it's going to be quite the task. Products that haven't been updated won't be able to be sold. The bad stuff doesn't end there, as we journey into the land of corporate speech with this choice quote. The OGL wasn't intended to fund major competitors, and it wasn't intended to allow people to make D&D apps, videos, or anything other than printed or printable materials for use while gaming. We are updating the OGL in part to make that very clear. And the other part clearly being, fuck competitors, give us your money. So far, this seems like a broad net they want to throw, and they want as tight a stranglehold on the TTRPG market as possible. Which clearly is going swimmingly for them, as countless creators have massively voiced their complaints, stated their intentions to make their own games separate from the OGL, streams are talking about changing games, and so on. So that brings us up to date as of the recording of this video. Wizards have still been silent on the matter, and people aren't happy. So as usual, big companies ruin everything, and kinda suck. Oh, that's a fun ending. It's what I like to say! But the day after I finished up this script, an email was sent out from an employee at Wizards of the Coast to several community leaders, confirming, well, exactly what I've said. The execs at Wizards and their owners Hasbro do not give a single fuck about the customers aside from their wallets. This isn't a great revelation, this is how most execs operate. Short-sighted goals of trying to maximise profits without actually researching how and why there is profit in the first place. Heya, future more tired Deval here. So as I was just finishing the editing on this video, a new leak came out from the employees at Wizards of the Coast, and I felt obligated to include it. So that statement we just talked about how it was corporate speak, is 100% PR written by execs and the legal team based on what they think will appease the community. The leak says that the statement was done and made and posted without the staff getting a say, and none of what they have said has been taken into consideration at all, and the execs are silencing their employees to the point of firing them from Wizards for being opposed to the new OGL changes. So yeah, since the video now clearly doesn't say it enough, a hearty extra fuck Wizards from me. Back to the video. As stated in the email, they are only looking at D&D Beyond data for their decision making, as that's their fastest way of checking profit. And people have certainly made their voices heard in this regard, as so many people were cancelling the subscriptions en masse that the subscription management page went down repeatedly. Through all this, they ended up pushing back the release of 1.1, even cancelling the stream that had planned for the announcement. So where does that leave us? Currently the community has made it very clear that they don't need D&D. D&D needs them. Countless groups and games have started working on creating their own systems. Several creators have decided to no longer do D&D based content, and Wizards and Hasbro will be dealing with the potential for losses due to their corporate greed. Following all of this, on Friday the 13th January 2023, they released their first proper response to the backlash they have received. I'll leave it in the description below for you to read for yourselves. However, my takeaway from it is that there's nothing in here of substance. It feels like a lot of corporate speech trying to ease worries without backing up any of their words. They haven't made a plan aside from delaying the release of the new OGL, and for now, until they make said plans clear, I'd say to keep up the pressure. Don't let them sweep this under the rug. Keep cancelling those subscriptions and stop buying their products until they truly learn that without the players, there is no D&D. Because I am awful at covering current events in a timely manner, Future Deval is back again, this time with yet more absolute corporate greed. As it turns out, Wizards VP Chris Cow, forgive me if I mispronounce the last name, has plans for a future of D&D Beyond, charging upwards of $30 a month for the use of its platform, and homebrew content being outright banned at lower sub-tiers. Killing the golden goose no longer seems anywhere near damaging enough to represent what they are doing with D&D now. I also left a link to a small guide to help back up character sheets from D&D Beyond, so you don't lose them after cancelling your sub. I'd also recommend checking out the YouTube channel and Twitter account of D&D Shorts, whose links I'll leave below, as they have been doing an amazing job covering what's been going on with D&D, and shared a lot of the information that went into making this video. I also want to say that odds are by the release of this video, there will be new updates and chapters in the saga, but if I want to get this video out while it's still relevant, I have to cut it off somewhere. When this is all over, I plan on doing an updated version covering a lot more than this video, so if you enjoyed this one, I hope you look forward to that. And of course, it goes without saying, but don't go harassing any of the employees working at these places. They aren't responsible for the decisions of the executives, and none of them are happy with this situation. So, to get a bit personal with the end of this, experiencing and playing D&D was life-changing for me. I'd never been so passionate about a hobby before, and it led me to meet some amazing lifelong friends, and even the love of my life. Which makes it heartbreaking to see it being destroyed just because some heartless execs wants to squeeze every last drop of money out of players. But our stories won't end if D&D collapses. They'll continue elsewhere, in different games, with your friends at your side. Thank you for watching everyone. I've been Deval, and I'll see you all next time.